right, welcome to Run the Damn Kitchen. I am Michael Severe. He is Nick Bartholomew. You know him from Dandelion Pop-Up, which Rob McCartney will learn about soon.
Right.
And, of course, also over Easy. This is our third episode of Run the Damn Kitchen. And we are at Avoli, which is a wonderful restaurant, of course, in Dundee. You know Dario's. You know this place as well. Been around since, I think, 2014 is how long it's been around. How have you been?
You know, great. It's been a good summer. It's been a busy summer.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in and out of Omaha.
Baseball.
Wow. Right?
Yeah.
But it's over now, and so, I mean, it's the fall's here, so football time, but baseball took it out of us this year.
I don't know if you know this, but I now work in the city of Papillion.
Yeah.
And the city of Papillion has a mayor, right? Of course. It's a city council.
Mr. David Black.
Right? David Black has a city council, right?
Yes, sir.
And it has a king. And the king of Papillion is joining me. He is the...
I was wondering where you're going.
He is the main anchor at KETV7. Rob McCartney, who started working in the business when he was just 16 years old in 1984. That had to be, right? You had to be 16.
It was right around, actually I was 15. Hadn't had my 16th birthday yet. But
when I saw 84,
drive,
I thought, no way.
Yeah, 84.
I started doing the math. No, I'm like, that dude can't be more than about 53, 54 years old.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm not.
You're good. You have a grandkid too and all that.
I do.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks. When you were explaining to Nick, I was like, are we going to go through politics and government setup here? Like,
there's Steve Inberg is the president of the city council. And no.
Let's go with the executive branch. And now we're doing the...
Amber Powers is the... right.
I was like, all right, I'm all in for this. Let's talk about that.
I just had to get to the king of Papillion.
That was a long walk for a small drink of water.
I have no problem with that. I've done 4-hour radio shows with myself. I will tell a long story.
I believe it.
I have no problem doing that as well.
And so for folks who don't know, Michael and I were colleagues. We're still our colleagues in the media sense. But we worked at 7 together. It's been a minute. I mean, it's been since
I was
you were
there 8 years, from 2002 to 2010. Yeah. You were in Lincoln first were you the bureau chief?
I was the bureau chief, yeah.
Okay.
I graduated Lincoln, University of Nebraska, Lincoln's Omaha Husker. In 84, went to work in Kearney for a year.
Wow.
Where I was assistant sports director first and then farm director immediately after that. I know, it's kind of funny. Because I'm an Air Force brat, right?
Yes.
So I'd never been on a farm in my life except for my fiance's family, fiance at the time, family. They had a farm up in Hardington, Nebraska. And I got out of the car, looked around, and that was my extent of being on a farm. Nice. Got back in the car and left. But they're like, hey, we need someone to do it. So I was there I was in Kearney for a year. I was in Lincoln at 10-11 News for 7 years. They came calling and said, we want to be a bureau chief. And so then I was the bureau chief for Channel 7 for a couple of years and then moved up here. A guy named Michael Scott.
I know Michael Scott.
I know you guys know him.
Occasionally, people stop me in the store and believe I'm Michael Scott.
Nice.
Really?
Happens way too often.
Sign
Do you lean into it?
And keep
Never.
Come on, man. Lean into
Never.
this.
There's a lot of other stuff. Michael's got a lot of past.
I know.
I don't need to be associated with some of that.
I'm not saying pile on. I'm not saying pile on.
No, I know what you're saying.
You can save him.
I go. No, I'm friends with Michael Scott. I know he occasionally is confused for me as well. We both appreciate it, and I move on.
That's hilarious. I had no idea.
It's not funny.
The funny thing is, because the first time I met Michael Scott, I just the natural thing is, hey, Mike. And he goes, it's not Mike, it's Mike Call. Oh. And so then a lot of his friends would call him just Call. You got shortened. So in Michael Severe, I was like,
yes.
Should I just call you Cole? Right. Severe?
They called me L. People for years have called me either apostrophe or they've called me L or Severe in the military. That was always what people called me.
What's your middle name?
Christopher.
Oh, so
Michael Christopher Joseph. That was my confirmation name. Yes, and so Michael. I made it. So real quick, I made it Mike L, MIKE''L, because I went to Catholic school, and when I got there in 5th grade after my dad had passed away, there were 8 boys. 5 of them were named Michael.
Oh, wow.
I was the 5th Michael.
Wow.
And so we had to figure out different ways to call each other stuff. And so one kid went by his middle name, and one by his last name. Okay. I went by Mike L, which is play off of nickname was Little Lover when I was a little kid because I was always hanging around with the girls when I was like a young child. So anyway, that's the whole story.
I'm absolutely bringing this back on you.
I have no problem with it. I've been telling this story on the air for years. I have no problem with the story now. It's fine.
I thought maybe it was like after Kal-El, like Superman or something like that, Mike L.
That would be awesome. I'm not a DC guy. So no, I'm a Marvel guy.
You're a Marvel guy? All right, sorry.
It wouldn't be that at all. Without that. So when you think of news and trustworthy people, Isn't Rob the first name you think?
I mean, I was excited to meet him, right? Today it was one of those things where I was like, I don't know how it's going to be. I don't know what he's going to act like. You know what I mean? But I was excited to meet him. And I mean, I even told my wife.
Super jerky.
Right? Ron Burgundy.
Right, you don't know. If he came in here with a pipe, it's one of those things.
Yeah, he's like, you played it. What do you play, the jazz flute? You play jazz flute?
Wait, well, let me just...
Let me pull that out. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, totally. I mean, but trustworthiness, absolutely. I mean, I didn't know the Papillion King thing.
Oh, yeah, King of Papillion.
I mean, that's got to come from somewhere.
It's amazing. Well, he lives there. And if you live there and you're the most famous, second most famous to Brandy Peterson person from Papillion, you become the king.
And you like walk into places and all of a sudden, like, what happens? I mean, give me an example. Like, what's your favorite place to walk into in Papillion?
Oh, good. I can't answer that because then I can't go anywhere else. Right? Yeah. It's like, well, good Lord, Nick.
I mean, what's the best entrance music then? You know what I mean? Like, what place is ready for you?
There's a couple of stores where I walk in and they have this just for me. There's a little. It's a chime. It's like a ding. Ding.
I like that. You
just walk in and
it's
then
like a ringtone.
It is. It's like quick shops. Those have it comes in. So it's. I feel pretty special.
And then
it rings it to me.
And then he says, "It's good to be the king."
Right.
It's good to be the king.
It's good to be the king.
But see, we're trying to kick.
That is actually a shirt.
We're trying to kick Little Lover out of there because he's going to go way up on the list here. See,
I'm not getting anywhere near that. My whole goal with this job, I'm not joking, is to win Employee of the Year. That's it. My whole goal.
And then what? Don't just pose it.
That's my whole goal. I figure in 5 years, at some point in 5 years, if I don't win Employee of the Year, then it's time for me to leave. But I just want to win Employee of the Year.
I know people. I can help.
I do too.
Okay.
I know them. But I don't know them like you. You're the king.
Well, no. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I can threaten them with like exposés on the news. You know.
There it is. I mean, I would do. Yeah. That's where the plaque that says Employee of the Year.
That's all I want.
Career. That's where the plaque.
Do you know what you get for Employee of the Year?
No.
What do you get?
Let's take a guess.
A plaque.
So they have two. They have a full-time Employee of the Year and they have a part-time Employee of the Year. Right?
You get a gift card to Twisted Vine and the Stave.
So that's really close. You get, I believe I'm not mistaken, you get a Visa gift card.
Okay.
And a day off. A paid day off.
And you would have to go to Papio Fun Park or something like that.
Yeah.
I just did that a couple weeks ago. Stop it. That's awesome.
All right. So
you did because I asked you if you went to the batting cages.
Yeah, I did, and we did not. We didn't have time for that.
The batting cages?
See, he knows everything that's happening in Papillion. That's why, because he's the king.
The batting cages.
I took my kids to that batting cage.
Did they have fun?
They had the blast.
Baseball's fun.
I don't believe that. Not when you're a Mets fan.
Anyway, that's rough. Okay.
Not when you're a Mets fan at all. So did you always want to be in TV?
Okay, so the quick bio is my dad was the Air Force. Mm-hmm. He flew in Vietnam, and so in the 60s,
he was a pilot.
He was a B-52 pilot.
Okay, awesome.
Really cool.
Bomb them.
He'd always say if you want to be flashy, send in the fighters, but if you want to win the war, send the B-52s.
Yes. But as the Gap Band once said. Drop the
bomb on me.
Right.
Yeah, nice.
Exactly.
So anyway, so I would actually watch television. This would have been 67, 68. We would watch the news thinking, hey, maybe I'll see Dad.
Wow.
Obviously not going to because he's in a plane and there's a bunch of planes.
5,000 feet.
Yeah, more than that. Yeah, up there. So anyway, as I'm watching the news as a 6-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, and I know it probably shouldn't have, but this is during the civil rights movement. This is cool stuff happening.
Right.
Civil rights was happening, Vietnam War was happening, and the space program was happening.
Whoa.
So as I was watching the news for the war to see if I could see Dad, I started seeing these other things happening in the world and saying, well, these are really cool stuff you can watch. And so then my two career paths were being military, like Dad was, or go into journalism. And I wanted to be a print reporter because that's back in the day. That's kind of where if you want to be a serious journalist, you went into print. Then I got to be high school. I was just average height. And when you want to go to the academies, which is what I wanted to do, I was actually down in high school at Barksdale, in Bossier High School.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Yeah, and I was down there, and I was like, I think I'd like to go to the Air Force Academy and do this. Cool. I put in, you put in a recommendation or you get a recommendation from the Congress people. Got one that I think you need 2 or 3 or whatever. But then I shot up height-wise.
Yeah.
And your sitting height could be like 38 inches and your standing height could be 76 inches. And so I went from about 5'5", 5'6" to 6'4". Whoa. Like in about 10 months or so. I shot up. And so I'm like, oh, crap. This is before junior year. And I'm thinking, I'm probably going to be 6'8", 6'10", and I was thinking if I can't go in the Air Force, I want to be a pilot like that, and if I can't do that, well, I'm not going to go into the Air Force. I'll just go to be a journalist.
Not MBA never just popped in your mind?
Yeah,
I thought that's where you were going. You say MBA.
No, because I know my skills.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's the important thing in life is to know your skill set. Yeah,
okay.
And so basically, I just pivoted. I mean, since about 6th grade, I really was thinking journalism, but because of Dad and everything, I was like, man, maybe Air Force first. So then I just pivoted over, and it kind of worked out.
You could have flown in the Army because you could have flown in the Warthog. That's Henning was in that. Remember the Dallas Cowboy Air Force guy? He ended up flying an Army aircraft because of his size.
It's funny you say that. Can I just a little side?
Dude, we have nowhere to go.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Because
food's going to come eventually.
I was emceeing a deal for.
Maybe I should talk to
We haven't talked about the food yet?
I haven't talked to
that's not good.
Oh.
Right.
Do we need a menu?
I did that last week. I don't know.
So anyway, I was emceeing a deal for Stratcom last weekend. Guy comes up to me and goes, hey, I went to school with your oldest daughter. I was a year ahead of her. Mm-hmm. And I think you know a guy named Eric, and who went into the Air Force. And I said, Eric Almeida? And he goes, yeah. Mm-hmm. And so Eric Almeida went into the Air Force from Papillion. He actually went to Iowa State, was the drum major in Iowa State. He is now a Warthog pilot.
Really?
A-10s, yeah.
That's A-10's a hell of an aircraft.
That's one of those things. It's like that in the Black Hawk. If you're facing another foe, you do not want to see those things coming at you.
Well, let me say, as a former Huey crew chief,
sorry. I didn't know this.
We used to call the Black Hawk, and this is no one gets upset about this, okay? This is the nickname for it,
right.
Lawn Dart. Because it had the long PDOT tube, and back then the avionics were so sketchy that like local radio would make the thing go down in the ground. And so I left from being a November to going to Apache. So I was a Romeo after that. Now, if you want somebody to come help you, you want that Apache to come help you. 2.75 millimeter rounds from about a mile away on your butt with some Hellfires, a little 50 cal. So that's outstanding. But when you said the Black Hawk, I was like, oh man,
that's funny. I didn't know I was leaning into that.
Yeah.
So what's a PDOT?
PDOT, the tube that comes out of it.
I know what does that
pointy
mean.
thing.
Yeah, I have no idea. It tells the speed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it tells the speed. Again, we don't have one of those things on the Huey. The Black Hawk has
the whatever it is.
UH-1. Yeah, I was a UH-1 Army guy, of course. There's what it is so each one of the nomenclatures are for a different thing. So like the November is the Navy's, and then I was just in a regular UH-1 helicopter.
And Huey's that really made its name in Vietnam.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, could go anywhere and
stay low.
I'm doing a story on it right now.
Oh, yeah? Nice.
We have, as you know,
the memorial
as the king. We have a old UH-1 that is being redone, and we're going to put it at the Nebraska Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Okay, at this park that they're going to have, and they're redoing it. Mm-hmm. So I did a story on it about a couple of months ago, and this guy who lives in San Diego sees the story, contacts the guy in the story and goes, I was the original crew chief on that aircraft.
Oh, man.
So when the moment it had 4 miles on it, flight miles, when he got it as the crew chief. And the first day he had it, they got an airstrike, he had to put it in the shop, they got it back out. But so I was just interviewing him the other day via Zoom, and he's going to come up for the
dedication.
Because these guys did Iowa Western. Isn't that where they started?
They're over at Iowa Western. You have, not only do you have former vets there working on it. Right. You have students that work there working on it.
Yeah.
Plus, you have Vietnam vets that are going over there and helping out too to put this thing back together.
That's so cool.
It's a great story. It's an amazing story. And now we will have the original crew chief there as well.
That's awesome. We might have to steal that story.
Wait a minute.
I'll wait till you do yours.
I gave you. I gave you a video yesterday. I gave KETV 7 video yesterday.
On?
You guys had, or was that 2 days ago? You guys had to go do something on the Emerald Ash board, the trees we were tearing down.
Yep.
And you sent
2 days ago,
you sent some reporter over there.
Sent Josh over there.
I did not meet Josh. And he went out there and he got an interview with Trent and the video was provided from me.
That's kind of a sore spot because I saw it. The idea came. I said, "Hey, I saw y'all's story that you put on there," and I said, "It's amazing. They're taking out all these trees in Halleck Park. It's a
right.
And it's
it's a baseball field.
Yeah, it's the arboretum.
So there's an arboretum all the way through there.
Oh, okay.
And they're taking 40, probably more than that.
No.
Well, just 10 right now.
Because the Emerald Ash board.
As it develops and they get sick, they have to die. Then
they got
move
the test on them and they found that they are infected.
They have those bores in there, and they just. What happens is it's like a blood clot in your system, and it stops the water from going to a certain part of the tree. So top of the tree just dies. It's horrible. Bad. Yeah. So
that would ruin a whole.
And you thought you were going to learn anything today?
Right.
Cam knows. Cam comes to learn. He's a big fan of it.
I'm gonna have to order the food.
Oh, I set that up yesterday when we were taping. That got the food brought over. Yeah.
I was at Dandelion today.
I know you were a busy dude.
I'm gonna have to go.
You're a busy guy. Do you have a special kind of food that you like the most?
In Omaha or around? I mean,
I'm asking Rob.
Man, just me.
A type of food. Let's go.
Type of food. Yeah, type of food. I can't go wrong with Italian, and I'm not just saying that
because we're here.
No, I'm not just saying. But I really, honestly, that's my wife makes an amazing. It's handed down through the family spaghetti sauce. And that's kind of the go-to thing. I mean, just love spaghetti. I love anything Italian.
Can we first have you change and say gravy? The spaghetti gravy.
Oh, that's right.
Because she's Italian.
Yeah.
I know she said it's gravy.
No, she's not Italian.
Oh, she's not.
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, but it's just
it's just passed. I thought the family of Italians. Yeah. So they get really itchy when you say manicotti. They get very itchy for that. Manigold. They get real itchy.
It's what?
Right.
Manigold.
You dropped the I.
Yeah.
He's saying it fancy.
So you can't say manicotti?
There you go.
Yeah, you can do that, but
yes,
then they'll push you out the house.
Oh, here we go.
And then,
hey, Chef.
Chef Dario coming up here. How you doing? Have a seat, sir. Sit down. Chef Dario joining us here on Run the Damn Kitchen. How are you doing?
Good.
Do you know we were going to be here, or we just walked in and go, I can't believe they're here?
Well, who are you? What?
There was a conversation about us coming, correct?
No idea.
Okay, good.
Thanks.
That's kind of how we like it. Yeah.
I'm Rob.
Okay.
Dario. Nice to meet you.
It's Rob McCartney. He's a local legend, KETV, and king of the Pavilion.
This is a legend.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So how have you been?
Yes.
Obviously, the news came out that your original restaurant, Dario's, will be closing, and I know that's got to tug at your heartstrings because of what that meant to you.
Yeah, bittersweet. Agrodolce.
Yeah.
Italians say, but it's a good thing. I'm happy with the decision. It's on our own terms. We are not forced. We didn't have to do it. It's just something we decided to do, and we thought about it. And past couple of years, we accomplished everything we wanted to do, and we did everything we promised to do. And now it's time.
So what's next?
Next is
throw yourself into this.
A vacation.
Instead of having two half-ass places, have one decent maybe.
I think it's better than decent, Chef.
Yeah. So
I've read before stories done about you have a successful restaurant, you open a second, whether it be the same kind or a different kind, and you do have to separate yourself. You have to find great staff to fill the second spot. What was the hardest part about operating? You were close. That's good. What was the hardest part about having the two locations?
For us, we could not utilize people because they are so different, such a different operations. We could not overlap almost anybody but me.
Right, because one was a French restaurant, and the
Yes.
other is an Italian restaurant.
It's not just cuisine itself. It's
execution.
POS is different. Our suppliers
Point
are
of sale,
different.
POS.
Point of sale. Our suppliers are different. Even our security system is different.
Really?
Yeah.
We cannot even cross-utilize gift cards. We have to make sure to tell people you cannot use Dario's gift cards at Avoli. Even I would like to, we just cannot. Because I didn't want to open second Dario, so I wanted new challenge.
I like it.
Because we're so physically close, we wanted new project.
Yeah.
And I think I overdid it.
You have an amazing story, your history. You're born in Bosnia, correct?
Born and raised in Bosnia, Sarajevo.
You left there during the war.
During the war.
And you went to New York next?
I went to Germany.
Germany, where you met your wife.
That's where I met my wife, yeah.
Which is amazing because she's from...
She's from Kearney, Nebraska.
How about that? How about that?
Small world.
Isn't that amazing?
Small
He was
world
just
right
talking
there.
about Kearney a second ago.
I mean, yeah.
Wow.
And then,
Yeah.
so then you guys are both in New York, right?
Yeah, we moved to New York. She went to college in New York, Fashion Institute of Technology. She moved from Kearney to New York. Then she planned trip in Europe. And she stopped at a Hofbrauhaus in Munich,
Yeah.
which is a huge beer hall.
Sure, yeah.
And that's
Been there, yeah.
That's
And
where I
she
think
met you.
That's where magic happened. That's where her trip stopped.
Right, that was the end. Her
Did you get the-
destiny
and,
began,
yeah,
but her
mug with
trip
the H and the
stopped.
B on it,
And we got married pretty quick.
Nice.
It's going to be our 28 years.
Wow. Congratulations.
And we moved to New York, two of us, and we started, after 7 months, business downtown Manhattan. So I did everything backwards.
Yeah.
Right.
I started business first, then went to culinary school, then we got pregnant, then September 11 happened, then she got pregnant
Oh my
again,
gosh.
and then the whole mess happened, then we moved to Omaha.
So you were in New York in 9/11?
Yeah. We were less than a mile away with the business in our apartment.
Wow. And that just made you say, I want to go to a place like Nebraska.
Kind of basically packed up and left.
Yeah.
When did you leave Bosnia? Do you remember
92.
92, yeah.
Okay. Because I was there in 03. I actually went on it was an embed's kind of a fancy way to say it, with the Nebraska National Guard. They were in Birchco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Birchco, yeah.
They had a thing called Camp McGovern was there, basically. And the mission was to just take unexploded ordnance out of the community.
Wow.
Okay.
And obviously, there were mines everywhere.
Yeah, still
that
are.
was the thing. And I went to we were with the National Guard, and I said, hey, what I want to do is I would like, because that was the biggest story in the world regarding, because the war technically was over when I went there. And that was Princess Diana's thing. Remember, that was her deal. She wanted to get rid of all the mines.
Yeah.
And so I said, when I go over there, I didn't want to just do it on the Nebraska National Guard. I wanted to do it on efforts to remove these mines. And so I convinced them to let me go into a minefield where they were actually...
That's a live shot and a half.
Pete Sobey was with me,
like,
the photographer,
the bravest photographer on the planet. Yeah.
And so they had grids. They gridded off the whole field, right? And they're literally... They had a big. There was a Russian tank there. Had a flail on the front that was just chewing up the ground, looking for the mine. And then they had a dude who was over on the other side of the field with a stick.
Yeah,
poking the ground.
And I go, is he doing what I think he's doing? And they said, oh yeah, that's exactly what he's doing.
Is there right away?
It's like,
I'm sure there is.
The big tank.
So fast forward to literally today's time, you have all this heat wave in Europe,
Right.
all those wildfires, and I was just listening to radio from back home. So they have wildfires, and they say they're pretty much under control. I mean, it's not funny.
Right.
Unless in those areas where there was minefields, firefighters couldn't go and put fires out.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Because they're still there, so they put fires out everywhere.
How many acres of minefield is
I mean,
it?
I have no idea.
That's incredible.
They're still packets. I don't know.
No, they were everywhere.
And it's like that even in England. You read stories about from World War I. There's still stuff in England from then. I mean, which is incredible to think about. You also are a beer guy.
I am a
right,
beer guy.
and that developed in Germany.
They call that hophead.
Hophead, yes, the hophead. They're actually what is the sommelier for beer? I always forget what that's
Cicerone.
called. Okay, are you?
No, I don't need certificate for my beer.
I don't need a certificate. We don't need no stinking badges.
I know I'm a pro. That's
exactly.
it.
Yeah. So how did that love for beer happen for you?
It really didn't happen until U.S.
Oh, really? Okay.
Where I grew up, beer culture was very low. In Bosnia, we had maybe a very mountainous region. We had maybe 4 types of beer. I didn't care of any of them. All restaurants had a little creeks and streams behind where they cool. They had plastic crates. They dip their beer to cool them. So all that water, spring water, washes labels off, and they collect label. So you order beer, and they grab the label, and they just grab any bottle. And they just grab any of the bottles and put that label.
It's a crapshoot.
Yeah,
and that's your beer.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
So there was no beer. Then Germany.
Yeah, that's where I thought it happened.
Big beer culture, but did not insert that beer love which I had. So what happened in New York? We took over. Was kind of Greek deli downtown, West Village, on McDougal Street and Bleecker.
Bleecker,
and
yeah.
Was a huge. They had a really big beer.
Marble.
Beer
oh my
selection.
gosh, I knew that was.
And I was really young.
Yeah.
I didn't have any education. I worked in restaurants, but nothing formal. So we were open till 3 a.m. every night. Weekends 4 a.m.
Wow.
And
that's a long day.
I was brand new to this country. I didn't know anything about product, about language, literally anything about anything. So every night we lived upstairs. I would take a beer upstairs and try and take notes. So we have huge international selection, you name it, from Zambezi, from Zimbabwe, Baltica, from Russia, Imperial, from Costa Rica, blah, 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 you name it. So I did. Then you have microbreweries. I skip all the American big beers. I skip that.
That's fine. That's okay.
No time for that. Life is too short.
Right.
For anything light.
Life is too short for Bud.
Anything mass produced.
So then I got to Belgium beer section, which was really big. So all that would happen like 5 a.m. You know, I'm really tired.
Yeah.
Our apartment, people are still screaming outside, drunk.
New York.
Garbage trucks are still, you know, crushing. So a lot of these beers, they were only in 25-ounce bottles.
Mm-hmm.
So I would bring upstairs, I would sit on the couch, and I would drink one. They're like 12% alcohol. So I would just pass out on the couch.
Wow.
And my wife gets up. She's like, "Oh,
Make me thirsty.
what happened to you?" I'm like, "I don't know.
I don't.
I just had
got mugged.
I'm like, I had a beer." She's like, "Well, I want to try that beer too."
Yeah.
Oh, there's a keeper right there.
Yeah.
She wants to drink it.
That's it.
So we start tasting this amazing beers
Yeah.
with benefits.
Right. Yeah.
So
And then we had another kid.
Yeah.
Benefits. Is
yeah.
amazing.
So maybe a couple of weeks later, she's like, "Let's go to Belgium." I'm like, "Let's go." I have 2 cousins.
Okay.
And we make a couple of trips, and I discover all that beer culture connected with gastronomy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." Just this beer culture closely connected with restaurants and food and all gastronomy based around these beers. Even that was mid-90s, even in New York, there was nothing really like it. I'm like, oh, I think that's what I want to do. And that's when I went to French Culinary Institute, because Belgian cuisine is very, very French techniques with German portions. That's what they like to say. And that's when I started my deep research about beer and cuisine à la beer. I made trips to restaurants which kind of pioneered that in Belgium. One of them just closed too. And that's how it all started, really.
I'm gonna order some beers.
Yeah.
You go ahead. Good. You know, I haven't had a drink in 20
3.
years.
So that's how it all started.
I'm just surprised because you liked the Belgian beer so much you went to Belgium.
Exactly. And
If I want a Smittix or something like that, like I complain if I have to drive across town.
that's what makes
You got to
us
go to
different.
Farnham to get it from the House of Beer. That's where you have to go.
That's why we're different, yeah.
Actually, I found out that Hy-Vee
But,
has it. So it's like,
no, so basically, beer came before food.
That's what's amazing. Yeah, it is.
Like
you wanted to figure out what went with beer, so you did.
I got in that first, and then I went to culinary school. That's why I said I did everything backwards.
It's fascinating.
Nice.
That's fascinating. In terms of going French, you mentioned that because of the Belgian. I believe, I'm not mistaken, French fries were originally made in Belgium.
You might start like micro wars in Europe.
That's what I've heard that.
Yeah.
So
Belgium,
is that true?
Spanish,
You're
and
just
French.
making this
no,
up?
it's really that's true. That's
You're just trying to
it's true.
start something.
I'm not if I understand it correctly, one of our maybe Thomas Jefferson, somebody went over there to negotiate, for the Louisiana Purchase and and got these things, and he was like, "These are awesome. What are they?" They said they were this. He thought it was French fries. They actually were from Belgium. You know those little bottle, those bottle caps that have facts on them?
Yeah, is that what
I
you
collect them all.
Oh man, that's where I get all my
Spanish
stuff too.
will argue because they'll say they started fried potato, not French fries.
Frites,
but
yeah.
They, potato bravas, whatever.
Oh yeah,
obviously French. So
yeah.
I'm on the Belgium side.
Yeah,
obviously.
I'm with you with that.
So we're going with the pizza. Where'd pizza come from? Are we going to go with that one?
We were actually talking yesterday about that. We were actually with Nick Strawhecker, and we were chatting with him about how so many words they took, like ragu, for example, and put it on a bottle. But that's actually a meat sauce,
Right? Yeah.
Italian. So these are all Italian words that they just kind of corrupt. Bologna or Bologna, obviously a town, and we just take it and we make it into what we want.
Yeah.
That's what we do in this country. That's what we do here. So the French restaurant, it's going great. Why'd you decide to do Italian?
Because living in New York, we had a great Italian restaurants and access to great pasta.
Oh, yeah.
And at that time, 9 years ago, in Omaha, we really didn't have much choice. Every time in our house, when we craved the pasta, we stayed home.
And you made it yourself.
Made it ourselves.
Look at you.
And then at Dario's, I kind of just started asking people, what's your favorite Italian restaurant? Nobody would give me like straight answer.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have one, or they were semi-embarrassed maybe. So I'm like, we need to do updated version of Italian restaurant in Omaha.
Right. We were talking about this a little bit before.
And also gives me new project.
Homemade pasta made by hand, is such, once you have that, you're not going back. You're not going back to something in a box, boiling it in water. It's just a different feel.
Kind of to say that, I don't have nothing against dry pasta. They're just different. Different applications. Fresh pasta is the best.
Yep.
But I don't, high quality bronze dye extruded semolina, dry pasta. It's good, still good product.
Yeah.
As long as it's cooked properly and
Al
served
dente.
properly, al dente.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we had him down to the Sienna Francis house for the Dining for Dignity.
Yeah.
So he was you did a bolognese, and what was the other sauce?
Well, we did 2 types of bolognese.
2 types of bolognese. So when he sent us, we were using what the Sienna Francis house had, and the donations are great there, right? And so he said, we'll find pastas that cook between 7 and 11 minutes, so they all can stay consistent. Well, we were able to find some amazing pasta that was strictly organic. And I mean, that stuff, more expensive, better ingredients, those whole types of things, but it still doesn't hold a candle to, the stuff he does fresh.
It's just a different feeling. You're putting it in your mouth, chewing it. Everything is a different feel. And obviously, the flavor's better.
Well, because it's such a simple product that everything counts.
Yeah.
There's no hiding. Can't really hide. That's why pasta is such a.
What do you mean by that? Just because there's so few ingredients to go into it, or what?
Yeah.
All right.
Eggs, flour.
It's like you can say
Water.
French cuisine is a lot about techniques. Italian is all about ingredients.
One thing I didn't know when he was doing his recipes, I asked him for what recipe he was going to use, and Dario said, "I don't use recipes."
My mom's
his
recipe.
mom's recipe. He was just taught to eyeball.
That's
it,
how
and
I don't
do
measure.
it,
Yeah.
which is something amazing, and there's something to be said about good chefs and that way of doing
Yeah.
it.
That's why I literally
Any of them
cannot
anywhere.
bake because I don't.
You get a pick, chef.
I just never did that. I never learned how to measure because my grandmother never showed me how to measure.
That's Caporal.
So what are these?
So I'll
What's
take
the
a couple.
beer?
That's a local. Yeah, take what you want. Take what you want.
Somebody order cider?
I just ordered any of them. You pick the one you want, chef.
No, I'm not gonna. I gotta go work, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Oops,
Oh,
sorry. Look, I
thanks.
made a
Hey,
mess.
there you go.
And I'm not even
That's
drinking.
why you haven't.
That's why I haven't had a drink in 20 years, right there.
You go.
Yeah, it didn't take much.
There you go, Nick. You get double up.
All right.
You had a rough day.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
gonna run soon because Dario's having busy night over there.
Good.
I
And
understand.
we are
It's the
closing.
concert tonight, right?
Yeah, we are closing for a week. We're going on vacation, so.
Oh, where are you
Yeah.
going?
Yeah, we're
Minnesota.
Good. Fish?
We're going there for 25 years to same spot, family vacation. So
Oh, that's awesome.
How old are the girls right now?
they bartend. So.
They're
old
here
enough,
or at
yeah.
Dario's?
Well, you're
Nice.
past the hard part.
Yeah.
See,
I
teen
just
years with girls, that's the
Gray
hard
just
part.
got here and like stops.
Yes, I tell you. Yeah, I have 2 girls myself and a boy, and it's like teen years is the hardest.
Oh,
I've
no.
often said I don't know how the species has continued because junior high girls are so mean to each
Oh, no,
other.
don't
They
tell
are.
me.
I'm just
are.
like, oh my
They are.
lord,
Really hard.
Incredibly mean. Yeah.
they are.
They made an entire movie, book, and now a stage play called Mean Girls.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
But it's
They
just
did,
terrible.
yeah.
It's all, I think, how you what kind of parents you are, and I'm not equipped to deal with that at all.
That's why you open a second restaurant. You're like, I
Yeah.
need to really
Keep
get away.
busy, keep
That's
busy.
why he has a 24-ounce beer at 5 in the
That's
morning.
why 12% beer.
12%.
Before we lose you, tell me why the name? Why did you pick this name? What was it?
So we had semi-concept in mind, food-wise, and this is like old world business idea. You find the space first, and then you develop concept, because it's not cookie cutter restaurants. You find like, okay, what feels right. Nothing feels right here at
gosh.
the beginning. But we knew we wanted Northern Italian, pasta, blah, 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 blah. We picked few names, Italian, to sound Italian, to speak Italian, and then you Google it, and there's like 70 restaurants in this country with that name.
Oh, really?
And you forget how many Italian restaurants are in this country.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. We got Forella, like fork. I'm like, oh, that sounds great. There's like Forella in Hawaii,
Yeah.
6 of them in Jersey, 3 in Minneapolis. I'm like, oh my God, no.
Sure.
Then something else, I'm like, we don't have name. So we sent it kind of messages to our friends and family, and I think my brother-in-law came with the idea of Avoli. That's a combination of our daughter's name,
Nice.
Eva and Olivia.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
That makes sense.
So yeah, that's them right up there.
Oh, that
Why,
makes tons of sense. That's
In
awesome.
Minnesota.
Why not any Bos? Do you have any? Would you want to do a
Is there a
Bosnian
Bosnian
base?
influence in any of
Yeah.
your food?
Minimal.
What's Bosnian food?
Can't charge enough.
Really? Yeah,
What is the core to it? Like, give me kind of a feel.
We do cevapcici
Yeah.
across the street, extremely popular.
Dandelion.
Dandelion, huge success.
Huge.
I just do little specials. I don't want to base. I don't have the training either. I don't know how to do it
Right.
properly. I didn't I didn't cook back home. Maybe slowly I kind of getting more interest in that cuisine.
What's the main protein?
We have 3 ethnicities.
Yes, right.
In Bosnia, so everybody has their own. Obviously, Muslim is lamb and veal. The other ones is pork, beef. Even same dish is made differently with different protein and different ethnicities.
Yeah.
Like Greek, they put pork in their gyro. Turks, they don't put pork in their kebab, blah, blah. So kind of similar. But in Bosnia, we have Turkish Empire for almost 500 years. We had Austro-Hungarian for, I don't know how long they were on power. Forever. And then you have all those tribes, and then you have that communist influence, so it's like huge melting pot. We have a crepes, we have a schnitzel, we have a kebabs, we have baklava, we have a filo dough.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful kind of mixture.
You had to feel at home in New York, because that sounds like New York, with the mixture of everything that's there. Yeah.
So,
a little bit of everything.
So, yeah, a little bit of Mediterranean, too, influence. There's the southern Bosnia, it's connected. There's, grapes, there's plums and apples.
Cool.
Also, I always think of drinks, too, not just food. What grows, what beverage they make, how you pair that with food. Southern Bosnia, they do more grapes and grappa-style drinks and wine. Northern is more plums and apples. So there's apple brandy, Slivovitz, plum brandy, numbing agent.
Right. And my question was, where was your love for Dundee come from? Where did that all start? Where you just created this neighborhood, food scene yourself?
Love for Dundee came. We visit Omaha quite frequently from New York.
Yeah.
Because Amy's grandmother was living in Omaha, and we would fly 3 times a year to visit her. My wife was very close to her grandmother. And she just kept living and living and living, and I'm like, I'm done. Visiting her.
You never said that out loud, did you?
No.
Okay.
She just died.
She just kept on living.
Yeah.
Some people don't take a hint.
Yeah, she was 102 when she died.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
So every time we visit her was like last time. I'm like,
that was 16 years ago.
For like 9 years, we flying,
Yeah. I understand it's expensive, yeah.
So anyway,
so cheaper to move here.
Yeah. There now you go.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So doing what we did in New York, and this Dundee Dell was still a thing.
Yes.
They had like 2 Belgian beers. Kind of rotating. They were always dusty and
here's
in
one
the corner. So I would do a pick at myself. So I'm like, when we decided to move, I didn't know much. I knew I wanted big trees.
Nice.
Yeah.
Old neighborhood.
Nice.
Cool.
Close to Dundee Dell, and less than 10 minutes from airport.
Wow.
I can get away.
Get away.
If you had to go from your grandmother, right? I understand. I get that.
So that was my 3 things.
Nice.
All right. So you mentioned you're going on vacation.
Yes.
Minnesota.
When you have 1 restaurant, it's hard to get away. When you have 2, it's probably impossible to get away. Is this the first one you've been on in a while?
In a while, yeah. We're going to close across the street for a week.
To be able to do it.
Ever.
First time ever. You opened in 2004? 6. Okay.
Can you ever go to a restaurant and not critique it?
Yeah.
Can you just enjoy it?
Relax.
Depends.
Just a minute.
I can. I can. Unless I'm overcharged.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
If it's any setting, I just don't care.
Right.
I get it. But
Right.
If I'm paying top dollar, then I'm gonna.
You got to critique, yeah.
But if it's whatever it is, I just don't care.
I love the fraternity you guys have as chefs. Do you go to your friends' places? Because
that's the only places I go.
Right.
People I know.
That's what I figured. Yeah,
Nice.
that makes a lot of sense.
Where do you and Amy go if it's just you to have a beer?
She really kind of doesn't want to go with me out anymore because I just end up talking to people.
Yeah.
And the 12% beer.
And 12% beer starts talking.
She just bring her home.
So I just wander off.
Oh man.
I understand.
Yeah.
Dario, we appreciate you letting us come in here and sitting here and enjoy the vacation. And we're gonna miss Dario.
Yeah, same here. We still have 2 months to go, so a lot of people are requesting.
Go get patio.
Parties.
Patio's packed.
Yeah.
Patio.
Yeah, we're trying to give everybody great experience. this next couple of months we are limiting reservations. We don't want to get overwhelmed. So
well, we thank you for
we
all the
want to
work.
do it. We want to do it in in style.
Yeah.
We just don't want to pull the plug and tell everybody screw you.
Right.
We want to tell everybody thank you for this 16 years.
Well, we thank you for doing
for
it. We
sure.
appreciate it.
Awesome.
The beautiful
Thank
food and all this stuff that
Yeah.
you do for us.
Good to see you all.
Good seeing you, too.
Chef.
Enjoy your
Appreciate it.
drinks.
You've
We
earned the
will.
vacation, my
Yeah,
friend.
yeah, nice to
Nice,
see you.
yeah.
It's good seeing you again.
Yeah, have fun.
I want to get a little bit into the news because
All right.
you got into business before me. I didn't get into the business until late '94, and I think when I got it in '94, we were still a profession where people looked and said, "I like those people."
Right.
You look at all the surveys, Gallup, and everything. I think we're right around where politicians are. What do you think's happened?
Let me split that. I think if you look at let me bifurcate it to national news and
Gotcha.
local news, because national news, it's bad. I mean,
bad.
the trust factor is terrible.
Wow.
Local news, and I'm not just saying this because I'm in it. The studies will show, and it's lower than it used to be. But it used to be one of the most trusted. Just like religions used to be. Used to be one of the most trusted, but then we had a bunch of things happen.
Sure. Right.
So it just knocked it down.
Right.
And so realize we have clay feet. We're not invincible. But local news, people still, when you have the tornado, you look outside, especially around here, the sky's kind of green, greenish.
Turn on Bill.
Turn on Bill Ramby. Yeah,
Right.
see what's going on. And so we're still the kind of the go-to thing. I think we just had, I will throw it all on the altar of social media. I will throw it all
Well, that's where most of the criticism is, especially when it comes to the print people.
right.
That's where a lot of the criticism is.
You can see why.
Absolutely. Everybody's a reporter, and I do not think that I'm a better reporter than anybody else, because everybody has the ability to witness something and say something.
Yep.
We were trained to go through to winnow out our biases as much as we
As much
could.
as you possibly can.
You can't be completely unbiased.
Right.
I went down, I'm not going to pick up a name, Peter Jennings, but I went down, he was in Kansas City, and I interviewed him because he was down there shooting some promos for the station down there.
Yeah.
And I went down there and interviewed him, and I asked him, and this is back when I was pursuing a master's, and I was just was really big into credibility. And I said, basically, it's kind of what you just asked me. What happened?
Yeah.
Where's the credibility and the bias? I said, aren't we supposed to be unbiased? And he said, there's no way anybody can be unbiased. He goes, a photographer, once you pick up a camera, your bias tells you what to shoot. Tells you what to point at, what to focus on, what to edit it into, the words I choose to use. So everybody has a bias. The idea is to recognize it and then limit it. Yeah,
Wow.
or there are times when I know people. I mean, I've done it for a couple of years, and so I know a bunch of the politicians. Just personally, I know them, and so what I do often, I almost err too much on the other side. I try not to, but you're because you're so hypersensitive, it's oh my God, I don't want to make sure I'm
a little bit.
exactly,
Yeah.
Nick. That's exactly what it is. It's I don't want to look like I'm giving them a fair or a free pass on something. So I really do think it's social media, which has been a tremendous pain in the butt, because a lot of people think, okay, why aren't you saying exactly what I want you to say? Because I believe
Or what I've
this,
heard elsewhere.
or what I've heard elsewhere.
Yeah.
And there's so many conspiracy theories for any. Did I just touch
I've been
it?
waiting.
What?
to come up.
Conspiracy
I'm
Did I
sorry.
just say
Yeah.
a word? It's like
I've
double jeopardy.
honestly been so patient. I got to tell you the truth for this to come up. And look, he
thanks.
said it. I didn't say it.
Yeah.
He said,
Thank you.
do you know that Michael has a conspiracy theory notion?
Okay.
I don't believe in conspiracies.
Of any nature.
I don't believe. I am completely.
Thank you.
Conspiracy free.
The most basic explanation of something, like Occam's razor, is what it is.
Right,
I don't
yeah. Simplistic,
need.
yeah.
Don't give me all that other stuff, and it's wonderful. You can live in that world. I don't live in that world.
I send him stuff now on Instagram
Oh, no.
that I'll find just to make sure that
Just
I
to
can
do it?
poke the bear.
That's why I don't check
Okay.
Instagram.
And he's talking about JFK, he's talking about 9/11. He doesn't none of that stuff. Whatever's printed,
Yep.
he
Yeah.
believes by the
not
book.
printed.
Oh, okay,
what I've
excuse
seen with my own eyes, which I have talked to people with my own lips and listened to with my own ears.
We should have
more
asked
than anything else.
Dario what he thought about 9/11 since I got brought up. But as you
Oh,
noticed,
yeah.
I bit my tongue because it wasn't the right time. But
It's never the
Michael,
right time. Too early is forever when it comes to 9/11.
Area
Just so you
51,
know.
none of it. He doesn't want to hear
See,
that.
okay, first of all, I've been to the area where Area 51 is supposed to be.
Yeah.
No, nothing there.
Well, they'd have fixed it by now.
Nothing there.
I mean, they've definitely swept it under the rug by now.
There are landing strips
you have the
there.
Air Force Base there, but the thing they're saying is supposed to be 7 miles this way. Also,
Right.
I've been to Carlsbad. I've been to all these places that people think because I worked in New Mexico. I don't believe it. I don't believe I don't believe in aliens. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in that stuff.
What if aliens showed up or something like that? What would happen?
Then I'd be like, I'm wrong.
But no, but
I'd be like, I've been wrong all this time.
You, sir.
I don't believe they're going to come all this way to deal with us in our social media.
You just channeled Will Smith in Independence Day. I don't believe
they're going to come all the way here to pick a fight.
Yeah.
No,
absolutely.
I think he said Carl's a ruckus. But yeah, that's just not me. I'm not a big on. But that whole philosophy that there's got to be someone behind it, that there's got to be this extra reason for it. It drives people crazy.
Yeah.
And it also allows them to then believe other things. You said a great line earlier about everybody can be a reporter.
Right.
But most of those people don't have the accountability. When you say something or you put something down, there's an accountability. Most people out there on social media can just say whatever they want. There's no accountability.
Right. You're saying,
so it's different. Me. You know, I'm going to get in trouble if I do this. Right. You do it, you move to your next tweet. Yeah. You move to the next Instagram story or whatever else. And if you're allowed to do that, which we are because we are free, thank goodness. Right. If you continue to do that, more and more people are going to doubt the professional group of that.
Certainly.
Because they're seeing the little bit of stuff that they're watching on social media. It's frustrating to me. It really is.
Well, it's too much nowadays, right? It came so far so fast and it pushed so many limits, you know what I mean? And it alienated people so fast that all of a sudden you didn't know up from down.
You know, and that actually we have
a charcuterie plate that is on the table. You said it. In front of us. It looks amazing. I see there's several cheeses. Looks like there's a prosciutto there.
Oh, man.
I don't know. It looks awesome. Some sausage here. Are these candied pecans?
Yes, they are.
That looks like prosciutto.
Some hard cheese.
Prosciutto.
See? He's not going to give that to you. He's not going to give that.
You know, I'm going to lean into every last
I'm going to call my friend Phil Tringali. Tringali. Second generation Sicilian. He's the one that did that.
When your grandfather invents crab imperial, you call
it was my dad. My dad invented crab imperial. This is outstanding. If you guys want to dig into it.
So is it really crab imperioli?
That's Imperioli. Mike
Imperioli.
The Sopranos. That's a whole different thing. I can do that. You want to do that? We can play that game.
That's
amazing. Do a morning show with Damon Benning. If you want to do that, we can do that.
That's spectrum. That's spectrum worthy, baby. That's amazing.
It's so weird.
What are you going after first?
These are amazing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, come on, that's the easy target.
So that's pate?
Yes, please.
So as you're dishing this up, to your point, Nick, that you were saying happened so fast.
Yeah. So fast.
Had the opportunity, I went and listened to it, as many other people did, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Great.
So he did this great presentation. He's fun to listen to, and then he had a Q&A afterwards.
Cool.
And so it's limited now. It's like 30 of us who are sitting there in the Holland Performing Arts Center. And he's just standing out there. By the way, a little sidebar here.
You're so smart to go to something like that.
Right, and what a perfect place
he is.
I mean, you are.
I am. No. I'm a space nerd. So this last 2 weeks, I've been geeking out over the James Webb Space Telescope.
Aren't those pictures crazy?
Oh my God! Just yesterday, I freaked out. I showed my wife something. I was freaking out, and she's like, "What now?" And I said they've actually found an exoplanet. It's WASP 96b. I think is what it's called.
Jesus,
literally, look it up. And it's a swirling ball of gas. The surface temperature is 1,000 degrees, but here's the point. They believe, an atmosphere or water-based clouds above it.
Whoa.
Well, that's the question. It's like, now is some life as we know it? Anyway, so I kind of geek out of space stuff.
No problem with that.
Do you believe in that kind of thing?
I believe there are planets and there's universes and there's solar systems. I just don't believe that people get in a ship or things get in a ship and come all the way to us.
I will show you. This is my screensaver.
Oh, there it is.
This is the first picture from the web.
Have Trent send you, or I haven't sent it to you. He has from out by his parents' farm. He has the 360 cam, whole solar system moving over the head. It's incredible.
God, I love it.
I believe in that. I just don't believe that something gets in a spaceship and comes here, checks things out, harasses certain people, and then leaves.
Well, they might not harass. They might just leave. They might just come and leave.
Well, who are all these people that say they've seen it? Those are,
Right, and what about Bigfoot? Oh, none of that?
I don't believe in Bigfoot. Although I respect the lady in Kearney who runs the Bigfoot...
museum.
Is this a disclaimer?
What is?
I had to go backwards on it.
Bigfoot Days. She does Bigfoot Days,
what?
and yeah, they have Bigfoot Days in Kearney, and I respect her for what she does. I don't believe in it. No.
Hey Nick, these are just pickles?
Yep,
just pickles.
Those are going to be sweet pickles.
I always worry about sweet pickles. I don't like sweet pickles. So I always worry
Really?
about that.
Not
I
even
don't
like
sweet
fried
pickle.
chicken?
How can you not like sweet pickles?
I never like sweet pickles. I'm a sour pickle guy. So much so,
you don't have to be either or, man.
Oh, I have to be. I can't do sweet pickles.
See, now this is what I'm saying. He's rigid like this.
I can't.
Sometimes.
There's things I can't eat that literally make me gag.
What?
Asparagus. I cannot eat asparagus. If I taste asparagus, it makes me gag. Sweet pickles make me gag. I just can't eat them. I eat almost everything. I eat the Hurrdat to the tuta when it comes to a hog.
Okay,
I eat chitlins. I eat tripe. Everything. I just can't eat asparagus and sweet pickles.
Those are the two.
And peanut butter.
Now, see,
And peanut
there's
butter. I don't
always
eat
one
peanut
thing,
butter.
right?
Can
I don't eat peanut butter.
the Hurrdat to the tuta?
The Hurrdat to the tuta.
That's a restaurant name.
Tuta Hurrdat.
That's what I thought. Okay, I just want to make sure you kind of blew through it. I just want to make sure.
It's the whole thing.
I just want to clarify
As
for
much
all
as possible.
Oh my
we
gosh,
eat. Yeah, we have no problem with that.
I'm
yeah.
never going to let the conspiracy theory thing go.
Anyway,
that's fine.
so back to Neil deGrasse.
Yeah, go back to Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's awesome.
So he does this whole speech thing, and then he afterwards, an older gentleman. I'm going to ballpark him in upper 80s.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's there, great. He said, and he prefaced his question like, I don't have a computer. I have never had a computer. I'm not interested in any of that stuff. He goes, what do you think is the problem basically with society? And, don't you think that we are out of control? And Neil's like, well, maybe. He goes, but it's always like this. And he said, and I agree with Tyson on this. He goes, or DeGrasse Tyson on this. He goes, you take that same question, that same argument, and move it back 100 years.
Yeah, sure.
Same
Yep,
thing.
very true.
And the Industrial Revolution, even more than 100 years. And he goes, basically, what happens is we invent things and we develop things, and then society catches up.
Oh yeah.
So it's like this happens. Catch up.
Great
and
point.
we're in this now. We've invented this monstrous thing, the internet and social media. We're trying to catch up now. How do we regulate it? Does it need to be regulated? How do we handle it? Or how do we just rethink? How generationally do we rethink? And do we teach our children? Okay, it's not going to go away.
Right.
So it's like, okay, this is here.
advance.
It's going to advance.
VR.
And yeah, exactly. It's perfectly. So that's a great example. So it's like, all right. So now, you need to be able to realize what is real reality and virtual reality.
Whoa.
And as long as and this actually gets to the main point, I think people need to be more informed connoisseurs, if you lack of a better term, of what the information they're getting. They need to be an educated news gatherer or consumers. Right. And so that way, no matter where it comes from, they can go, that's BS.
Well, and what a new concept in the sense that, when I was growing up, if you heard it from any news source, right, it was foundational.
Right.
Walter Cronkite was gospel.
Right. And now it's like, here we go, it has a political slant, and you have to filter. And when I say filter, I don't just mean filter, I mean, my goodness, you have to have two filters.
The biggest problem is that you have the ability to follow on these social media platforms. And you're probably only going to follow the people that you agree with.
Absolutely.
So then you're kind of reinforced constantly about, you're right. Now, if you try to follow other people, it might be frustrating, but at the same time, maybe you'll learn something. You really could.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, I used to turn on Rush. I had a little break in the day between the shows I listened to, and I'd listen to Rush for an hour. And my wife would lose it. Sure. And I would say, I want to hear what he's saying.
Both sides.
I want to know what he's saying and what he's thinking, because it helps me in what I'm doing in my life.
Totally.
And that's why I read the comments.
Balance.
I read the comments on those stories because I'm curious. When I did not know that people didn't believe the war in Ukraine wasn't happening.
They don't?
No, it's all fake.
No.
And I didn't realize that until I read the comments, and that helped me to understand that there is a level of conspiracy out there that I can't even gather.
Yep.
I can't. They believe that all that's fake. There's no real pictures coming out there. It's all old war shots.
Right.
Russia's actually never invaded Ukraine. That's a belief
Interesting.
that people have.
Now that's a little bit wild.
It's wild, but I like to know that it's out there.
Okay.
It makes me.
I think
it educates you to know what other people are thinking.
And when I watched some documentary that talked about the information gathering that goes on with what you do on the web, and this little miniature pseudo voodoo doll of you is created because of your likes, your dislikes.
Oh, sure.
And that's how they
the analytics,
generate ads that are directed towards you. Well, your viewpoint, your slant, if you will, distorts. You know what I mean? Because now not only are you only seeing what perpetuates your viewpoint, you're only seeing one side completely, and maybe it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, And what kind of society is that creating? What kind of individual is that creating?
Rough, yeah.
And I think that lands in the lap of parents or guardians or whomever, because my wife and I have raised our kids to always consider the other side. Now, not just consider it, but my son has taken it to the next level. He argues the other side.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So
Was he in forensics? In school?
No, not really. No.
One of the first things they teach you as a freshman.
Is argue
They
the other
give
side.
you the other side.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
so you have to argue.
You got this side. You got this side. I don't care if you
In
believe it or
life,
not. Go
you
ahead.
should have to argue the other side.
Absolutely, and
My
it's to
goodness.
your point. Actually, is like then I know what the other side's thinking.
Yep.
And our dinners back when they were in school, high school, before they left. I mean, they became known in our group of people as like McCartney dinners.
Nice.
Because that's what it would be. Just it wouldn't be like, how was your day? Fine, good. This eat.
Yeah,
It would be like, take a bite. What do you think about? And then somebody would just take the other side and argue it.
Great.
But it makes them. I think they're still in their 20s. My oldest is 35, so it's like they're still works in progress. But I think I've given them the foundation.
That's all it takes.
That's all you can do.
Yeah, and I think also, I mean, they're a little bit different in what I do. They would see the news and sometimes they would watch and see what I did.
Yeah.
And so they were a little more tuned into what was happening in the world.
Good.
But yeah, I think everybody should be. And so that's the reason with social media, it's not all bad. It's a lot bad because there's so much access to it, and
And there's so much vitriol. There's so much.
there's
hatred.
so much hatred, and it's just it's like,
It's
how
tough,
can
yeah.
this, what happened to civility? I wanted to just in my snarkier days, a couple of years ago, I wanted to just have a memorial service, and then on the headstone you'd see civility.
Civility, yeah.
I wanted to put it
Wow.
out there. So what happened to it? The
Where
death
is
of
it?
civility went somewhere.
Yeah.
But then I use social media all the time in my news gathering. We were just talking about in Papillion. You guys posted that story about the trees, and I'm like, this is interesting. I vested interest because that's where I take my mother.
Neighborhood.
So we have lunches. We sit in the car and we watch the ducks in the duck pond, and
Yeah.
the trees are all around. And I'm like, this is interesting. And the emerald ash borers coming back, that affects a lot of people in the community.
Yeah.
So I use that social media to then say, oh, hey, maybe we should do this. Hence, we send a reporter over there to do this story. So it's a great tool. I think it's a tool that people can use better. And they just have, and I
more
think,
responsibly at least.
thank you,
know what
thank
I
you.
mean?
More,
In those-
they
in
have
those
to have
cases.
self-worth too. So,
There it is.
Oh, that is huge.
I mean, there it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
and a
Because
lot
what
of-
are you trying to accomplish, I guess? Like, are you trying to accomplish something where you win constantly, or are you trying to accomplish something where you grow?
I think sometimes people just want the attention.
Totally.
They want to get the clicks, and
amen.
not clicks. They want
Likes.
somebody to comment on what they commented
Yeah.
on, so it gives them.
Yeah.
Before we end this, rapid fire questions, okay?
Go ahead.
How much has it changed over the years of you being here? The Monday after a Huskers lose, how much has that changed? Because I remember when I first moved here and the Huskers lost, that next Monday was kind of like around town. Do you
Right.
even feel it anymore?
Nope. The Huskers have been so marginal at best for so long. Just talking about football, not talking about women's volleyball, which is amazing.
Yes.
Right.
And softball, which is amazing.
Amazing.
Don't forget about the skeet, man.
Ski and bowling is
Bowling, yeah,
Larry
right,
Putney's
yeah.
done great things.
Yes, he
Right,
has.
right. Bowling's
He's
been
doing a heck of a job,
ridiculous.
yeah.
He's actually my son. But
Wait,
Larry Putney?
confuse people. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
We were in the same fraternity in college, and we have pledge sons and pledge fathers. And Putney's one of my.
Oh, okay,
my
all
God.
right. That
I,
makes
know, I
sense.
like to
be a
drop
story
that. People are
right
like,
now.
what the heck?
Really?
What the
Wow,
what?
congratulations.
Yeah, I should tell my wife this one. Yeah, she didn't know. Yeah. It's almost, people now will schedule weddings on Husker Saturdays.
Which never happened.
Never happened.
Never happened.
It's not. I'm not gonna say it's an afterthought because it's still a huge thing.
It is, yeah.
But I mean, and people still. I still look into it. I'm still interested in it. But it's like if it's the end of the, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
And it's like I'm interested. To say the game's going on. The Ireland game's coming up. That's
pretty
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, if you
You're
lose,
not
it's
going
like,
over to Ireland, is what you're telling me.
I am. Yeah.
Oh, you are?
Actually, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
Andy Kenny and I. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
How did you
Yeah.
get that done?
They said, hey, do you want to go over? And I was
You're
like,
like, yes.
You're not going?
I said, let me think.
We
Yeah.
were going last time.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
were planning to go last time, but now I'm not going. No.
Oh no.
No, I'm not going now. Last time when I was actually in the business,
Right.
I was
Right.
doing Sports Talk Radio, we were going to go over as part of there was some players and stuff and media. We were going to go over together, but I'm not going.
You know
Take
what?
This podcast.
The podcast, and I can let's talk to Mayor Black in Papillion.
Let's send this over there.
Sister City
Yeah.
set up a Sister City, Papillion and Dublin. That's
Right.
where the game's at.
Sounds like a cool. You're the king. You can do it.
No, I can't.
Another quick rapid fire.
Yeah.
Does Bill ever roll up his sleeves just to scare people?
Is it any of it for show?
No.
That's a conspiracy almost right there.
Yeah, yes, I told him he needed to do that. He no is the answer. He emceed Jazz on the Green the other day.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
And it was a hot day. And there were some clouds, but it wasn't like storm clouds, but there were some clouds. And I said, Bill, what you got to do? I said, when you first get there, say, I don't want to concern anybody, but, and then just start.
Yeah.
He did not. Because he came back, because I didn't do the bit. I'm like, oh, man.
That would have been great. As an MC,
been tremendous.
That's great.
And that all happened. That all came about accidentally, just organically. It was a 5 o'clock newscast, and he had just rolled up his sleeves and made the point, so I must be getting serious now.
Yeah.
This was back in the old station. This was years and years. And somebody out in the ether, it's like, and they started the whole sleeve-o-meter thing.
That's it.
That you can say, where's
That's a brand creator right
it
there.
is.
Well, when I take off if I have a suit on, I take off my jacket, I have to roll my sleeves up.
Right.
Absolutely,
It's
man.
just habit.
Yeah.
It's just habit to do it. Is Andy Kindy the nicest person in the world?
No, my wife is.
There it was, a big
But-
win.
You kiss ass.
She's going to watch this so
I
many
gotta go
times
home to
now.
her. I have to go home to Kendi.
No, I understand. That's true. You
But I
gotta
am going to Ireland with Kendi,
Yeah,
so
Kendi,
make sure.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
a second. No,
Yeah.
Andy is like he is a nice,
It's incredible.
nice human being.
Yeah,
It's not just facade.
No,
he
no.
is that. He
No.
is that. When his parents passed away in the short amount of time
Yeah,
between them,
oh my
there's
goodness.
no. I don't think I heard as much when people around me died as I did for him because I knew those people raised one hell of a kid.
Yeah.
And I knew how close he was to them.
Yeah.
Going to get McDonald's and I just he's a great dude.
Really?
Yeah. I wish I could have worked with him longer. I only like a month before he got there
was
and I left.
super
He's
nice
a
guy.
good
His wife Wendy. I mean, she's a saint too. Well, putting up with him, but
Right.
he's and he's got some beautiful daughters. I mean, he's a family man to the core.
Yeah.
And then he loves sports, and it's evident. It's kind of like Ramby loves weather. I mean, they love what they do.
Right.
Comes across, and he is such a nice guy.
Last one.
Yo.
Favorite female anchor. That's worked with you.
Worked with.
That you work with.
Yeah.
That you work with.
Cornell. Has to be. I mean, it's been. I mean, Brandy got to be close second. Brandy Peterson. Julie and I've worked together forever. I mean,
you have.
It's honestly, there was about 8 years I think we didn't, but then in the other 30 or whatever years
Together,
a chunk. Yeah, I mean, I've had opportunity. We call them we, and not just me, but my wife will say my other wives. Mm-hmm. It's just like you
spend so much time with them. Yeah.
It's absolutely. And so, I mean, you get to know them, you get to know the family well. Julie, I know what she's thinking. I know when she's having a good day, a bad day. She knows the same thing by me. If something happens, just a couple weeks ago, it's not good for at a restaurant, but you're sitting there, Bill's doing the weather, and it's like I'd had something bad to eat, and I was kind of like doing that little throw up in the mouth thing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like,
Oh, nice.
and he was wrapping up, and I'm like over on the side of the studio, I'm like, and he's looking at me, he's like telling it's
right,
going to
buddy?
be the 7-day forecast. He's
Slow
looking
it
at me,
down,
and I'm like,
Nice.
and so finally I was just like. And I pointed at Julie, and Julie's like, she goes,
take
I'll take it. So that's what you do. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kinda
You're a
like-
team, yeah.
Even if I didn't do that, she would have known, like, I'll just go and
I'm going to run with it.
Yeah.
So then if you're not playing the King of Papillion,
That's going to have to
And-
die.
and
That's absolutely. I can bring back Little Lover.
I created it.
Little
It's-
Lover's
it's-
coming hard.
I think Little.
Listen, man. It's Lil. First of all, it's
Lil.
Lil Lover.
Okay.
Lil, like
Lil Lover.
Lil Durk.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Lil Bob.
What's the other neighborhood that you like to run and go to, or your favorite restaurants and bars are in, or you like to go to an art show? What other neighborhood in Omaha do you really?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, Dundee's nice, but I do really lean into the old market. I
Yeah.
like that. Little Italy's coming alive like crazy.
Good.
But you didn't
Glad.
know what Dandelion was yet.
No, I know. I thought it was because we were talking in baseball,
Oh, yeah,
and so my
okay,
mind
got
was
it.
in like, is that
All
a
right,
baseball
all right,
tournament?
all right,
Is that
all
a
right.
baseball? Yeah, and so I mean, I really because I really like that vibe, that feel.
Totally.
Nothing against West O. I mean, there's some great places there, but it just doesn't. I'm a history guy.
A little more sterile.
That's the way I feel about Blackstone.
Yeah, same
All
thing.
those buildings, well, a lot of those
Gosh.
buildings have been around forever.
Same thing.
Yeah,
I just
feel the same
haven't
way.
got up. There's a great guitar shop in Blackstone.
Oh yeah.
which I love.
Meatball is right up below it, above
Yeah,
it.
above
And
it.
I just like it pisses me off. Someone just burglarized them or actually
Oh,
robbed
no.
them. There were people there not too
Today?
long ago. No. It's been about a month or so.
Right.
It just irks me because here it is. You got a guy doing a thing,
Yeah.
trying to make his way in life, and it's like, really, dude, you want to rip him
Or
off?
doing
gonna
cool
shortcut,
things in
yeah.
a neighborhood.
Cool
Because
things in
those
a
things are what make those
Exactly. We need
neighborhoods
more of that,
cool
yeah.
because restaurants come and go. I mean, and as you know, right now we're about to go into with economics. I mean, the restaurants are closing. Dario's isn't the only one. Garden Cafe, we're losing. La Solamio,
yep,
you know what I mean. Joe Tess, we lost, and so
Anthony's just went.
Anthony's just went, you know, and so those neighborhoods, while they identify with those restaurants, it's those guitar places and the things that stick
I agree.
through the trouble.
The small town in Papillion, there's a place we mentioned, Stave. I mean, I love the Stave and the cheese house. Yeah. There's like the Northwoods Cheese House. There's a dude just like
sometimes they're open, sometimes they're not open.
Good.
Sometimes they're open.
That's how their mental health can stay. You know,
I just drove by today. My wife and I drove by. We were heading towards Target. We were coming south, and I was just like, "Hey, cheese house is open." She's like, "Excuse me."
Yeah,
and I said, "You know what I said."
Yeah. Stop pretending.
It's like, you didn't hear me.
You never know.
Actually, I just did an interview with Alfie Cascio from Cassio Steakhouse. Yeah, he's on. It's actually, I don't know when this can come out.
They're one of 3 left, really.
Chronicle, and that's what the Chronicle.
Right.
Our Chronicle is like, okay, restaurant industry. Should have had you on there. It was just like the battle they've had the last 2 years with pandemic. It's just like, and Alfie's just, I mean, he's been hanging on. And I asked him, I said, how the hell do you do that? And and he goes,
you wouldn't believe it.
Work hard. He goes, it's crazy.
No, I believe
the
it.
Post yesterday, Rivera's on his personal said how he voiced some of his frustrations on some of the prices. Is Mara Gonzalez of Isla Del Mar, who's now about to open, you know, a new one on 132nd and Center.
Isla Del Mar, by the way, if you haven't been there yet.
Really?
Incredible.
Really?
Oh my gosh,
Right.
it's an adventure.
Incredible.
Is what it
I
is.
got a
And you'll
bowl
just have a
of
time
fish,
of your life.
shrimp thing. It was.
It's incredible,
man.
and she just does everything so fresh. When she's done Dandelion, she's done Dandelion twice now.
Okay.
Both, she walks in, it's a complete production. It's gorgeous from the beginning to the end. And when she walks out, every time, you know, we do the numbers with the chef before they leave and they're off, she said, hey, everything is donated. See ya. She packs her stuff up and leaves, doesn't take $1 and donates it.
That's incredible.
And just walks right out.
Nowadays.
And I mean, she just doesn't, I mean, she does it for the community, which is really what Dandelion's about, you know, and so she just says, hey, spend it on making it all better.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the kind of people that are having the most trouble right now, and their posts would break your heart just about what the cost of oil is, what the cost of
That's one of
It's tripled. The cost of oil is tripled.
fryer oil.
From 14 to 50. Block 16 put out a post for that. Yeah.
Yesterday they were, and that was my third. His Block 16s now said, hey, we got to up, you know, prices are coming, and we want to let you know we're not doing this to become millionaires. Right. And if you think that, we're happy to show you the margins, because right now it's brutal. I mean, I was doing some coffee numbers today for Over Easy, and you just wouldn't, I mean, any origin, you know, let alone single origin coffee, any of those types of thing, it is just going insane. And these locals are getting hit hard, you know, and I hope to God it stops fast, because, I mean, Omaha's an out-to-eat city, and this is the type of places that we all cherish. And so, you know, we can't lose anymore.
That's what I was going to add, because that's why I asked Alfie. I said, basically, we had him on to show us, like, pull back the curtain, show us what it's like in the battle. Yeah. You know, instead of just, because people, I kind of put it in the context of someone goes out to eat and it's like, it's taking 15 minutes more to get my dinner and it costs me $10 more. I'm just, I hate you, you suck, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, Alfie, tell me why. And he was basically saying exactly what you're saying. And he was saying, there's certain things you can't get anymore, like turkey. He goes, we take it off the shelf. I said, what about third-party apps? Like Grubhub, which really became popular. And I said, are you using this? And he goes, I don't like to. Yeah. He goes, because they're using like 10-year-old menus.
Yeah. Yeah. And they take so much off the top.
And they take, that's the other thing. It was just like this. And nothing against them. I mean, convenience is an amazing thing nowadays, but it's just like, he was just like, we use them if we have to, but, you know, it's like we tell the customers.
I mean, the pivots is really what is going to, you know, is take over our lives, is how can these restaurants find new ways, you know, to bring in some more income.
Sometimes they gotta in lunch or in brunches, extra things they're doing. That's the only way to do it. Rob, I appreciate it. You were all worried. You were all worried about doing the podcast.
Yeah, I was just like, because you're like, you guys are like at this level. I mean, food.
Isn't he good?
You guys are amazing. Both of you guys. Yeah, Michael's. I've always known he's solid.
Right.
But here's and this is gonna make you mad.
Oh, sweet.
And it just gets my can't wait. Okay,
because
of the conspiracy theory, you know.
Yes.
Yes. My wife and she'll ask me, what do you want to eat? You know, she used to ask me, and I said, I don't care. You know, it's kind of one of those things. Exactly, that kind of thing.
Oh, gosh.
But she learned eventually, because I finally came up, I said, to me, food is fuel.
Love it.
That's it.
ATPs, baby.
It is. I mean, I don't even pay attention. I said, I have Crohn's, which so I can, my diet is limited, and it's very public. I said, but to me, food is fuel, so just whatever. And she goes, well, you know, that really... I said, so my bar is down here, and she goes, that makes me feel like crap, because, you know...
Thanks
and I said, no, I appreciate good food.
Yes.
And I love to go to great places to eat. I do. I said, but it's like, if you ask me, I And I also am that guy who likes to clean up in the kitchen.
Oh, cool.
So she will cook something and I'll clean the pan.
Yeah, that's fair.
Many times she's like, I need that pan again. I'm not done with it. And I'm like, well, it's clean for the. But anyway, so I that's what I was worried about.
Yeah.
I was like, if you're going to lean into the foodie aspect, I'm going to be like,
we're going after your strength.
Bread good.
We're going after your strength, man. Royalty. That's what we're going after. For Rob McCartney, of course, KETV7. You can find him weekday nights. You're off on Friday, Saturday?
Friday, Saturday, yeah.
Good job.
So Sunday through Thursday, of course. Dandelion pop-up next week, as always, on Friday from 11 to 2.
Lobster rolls next week.
No way.
Lobster rolls and crab cake sandwich.
We got to get this thing out quickly.
Those
then.
love those, man.
It's for Run the Damn Kitchen. I am Michael Severe, Rob McCartney, and Nick Bartholomew. We'll be back next time.